Hello. Today's video records my first attempt to make Jadam wetting agent. I'll also be making Jadam sulfur and video that as well, but I'm starting with the wetting agent because the ingredients are less volatile than the ingredients used to make the Jadam sulfur. So here I've got 200 mils of water, 267 grams of potassium hydroxide, 1.5 litres of canola oil. I've also got personal protective equipment, masks and goggles and full-length clothing and gloves. Jadam is an organic form of gardening that originated in Korea, and I hope to use this sulfur spray to prevent leaf curl on some peach trees that I'm helping to look after on another property. My video is very brief and its purpose is just to share my journey, but if you want to make any Jadam products, you really should watch the Jadam videos that go into a lot of detail, particularly to stress the importance of safety because these are chemicals and they're dangerous. The first thing that I put into the bucket was the water, then I put in the potassium hydroxide, then I put the lid on because there were fumes coming up. I then put the oil in, and that's a paint stirrer you can see on the end of the drill, and the paint stirrer is used to mix all of the ingredients together. The recipe for the wetting agent usually makes, I think they make about 100 litres. It's more for farming. I scaled it down to make a lot less fluid. I only wanted to make 7 litres. Therefore, there wasn't much fluid in the bottom of the bucket, and there wasn't enough fluid to cover the functional part of the paint stirrer. So there was quite a bit of splash onto the grass. You can't actually see the splash from the video, but trust me, it was there. So I ended up going and getting a plastic disc and cutting a hole out just to make a bit of a lid to minimise that splash. That meant that I put the paint stirrer onto the grass, and I'll show you a photo of what happened to the grass with the concentrated chemicals on. Frank refused to wear his PPE, so unfortunately, as the union rep, I had no choice but to send him off the worksite. But in all seriousness, I need to remember to lock him in the house next time if I do this, because he could get injured quite easily. I whisked for a little bit over 5 minutes until it looked like runny mayonnaise. That was what the instructions said to do. Never actually eaten runny mayonnaise, but I think I found the right mixture. That looks like runny mayonnaise to me. This was the consistency the following day. It had cooled right down. It was like butter, pretty well soft butter. Then this was the consistency after 3 days. It was more like hard butter, but not really butter that had been coming out of a fridge. Then I had to add another 6.67 litres of soft water. I used tank water. I added about 2 litres initially and whisked that up. I think that the instructions said to whisk for about 10 to 15 minutes. I would have whisked no more than 10. Then I added the remainder of the water. I didn't whisk too much at this stage because it just kept frothing up and I was concerned about how much froth I'd contend with. Then I just got a piece of wood and started stirring with the piece of wood. There was some coagulated bits of liquid soap in there that I tried to squash. It was also fairly cool weather, so I did put some hot water into the kitchen sink and sat the bucket in that for a while, just trying to melt some of it a little bit. It was quite effective. This was the following day. It looked pretty good to me. It was a nice colour. There weren't jelly bits. So I poured it into some jerry cans. I got 2 5-litre jerry cans and the amount that I made was about 7 litres, and this is a concentrate. You only need a few mils for the wetting agent. The wetting agent is just liquid soap, and Jadam uses this wetting agent in conjunction with all of its pesticide sprays just to make sure that the spray has good coverage of the plant. There was a bit of jelly at the bottom of the bucket. I wasn't concerned about that. Here's a photo of the grass. Remember I said that the paint whisk, I put it on the grass? The concentrated potassium hydroxide had burnt the grass. So I diluted the Jadam wetting agent down to its normal dilution for using as either a pesticide or as a wetting agent, and sprayed it on some of my plants at home to make sure that it didn't burn them when used properly. Here was a volunteer lettuce. That looked like a good candidate to trial it on. And here's some mint likewise. So the ratio that I used for this spray was 3 mils of the wetting agent for 500 mils of soft water. I was giving it very good coverage to make sure that it was all covered, although not under the leaves. Here's some Japanese anemones, and also there's hellebore there as well, getting it. Found a nice weed. And volunteer curcubit in the compost pile. This next lot of photos shows those 5 different plants that got sprayed. This photograph was taken the following week and it shows that there was no damage to them from the wetting agent. Thank you for watching.